The sun was just edging over the pines when I spotted flashing lights in my rearview mirror. Red and blue strobed across the pavement like a full-blown traffic stop. Only thing was, I knew every sheriff's cruiser in this county, and the SUV behind me wasn't one of them. Before we dive in, drop a comment with the country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. I guided my pickup onto the shoulder, gravel crunching under the tires. For a second, I thought maybe it was a new deputy I hadn't met yet. But the instant those doors swung open, my gut screamed the truth. Two men stepped out in tactical vests stenciled with bold white letters, HOA Cop. They strutted toward me like wannabe reality TV officers. One was tall, lean, shaved head, mirrored sunglasses. The other stocky, holding a clipboard tight under his arm. Neither badge looked official, but they carried themselves like kings of the road. The tall one tapped my window with his knuckles. License and registration. Step out now. I arched a brow. On what grounds? You're in violation of HOA ordinances, he said flatly. This is an official compliance stop. I almost laughed. On the highway? Correct? The heavy one piped up, squinting at his clipboard. Article 7, subsection B, vehicles owned by residents must meet community appearance standards at all times. Your truck has unauthorized accessories. I blinked. You pulled me over for my toolbox and mud tires? Non-compliance is serious, the tall one insisted, puffing out his chest. Failure to cooperate means escalation. Before I could reply, a white Lexus eased up behind them. Out stepped Linda Marsh, our HOA president. Perfect hair, pearls, and that smug smile she always wore. She carried her clipboard like it was a sword. Good morning, she said sweetly. We've had multiple complaints about your vehicle. These officers are here under my authority to ensure compliance. I nearly chuckled. Linda, you realize this is a state highway, right? Your authority ends at the neighborhood gate. She narrowed her eyes. Our jurisdiction follows our residents. Your non-compliant truck reflects badly on the community. It's an embarrassment. Clipboard guy nodded like she just quoted the Constitution. Exit the vehicle. Non-compliance may mean impound. That's when I realized they weren't bluffing. They were trying to strong-arm me out of my truck. I kept my hands on the wheel, calm as stone. So, let me get this straight, I said slowly. Two fake cops in HOA vests, backed by a president who thinks her rules extend beyond her mailbox, want to arrest me over a pickup. The tall one scowled. Laugh all you want. This is happening. Step out now, or it gets worse. I leaned back, letting their nonsense wash over me. They thought they had me cornered, but they had no idea, and I was just warming up. The tall one wasn't bluffing. He slapped the glass hard, rattling the window. Last chance, he barked. Step out. Linda crossed her arms, smug as ever. Your violations are documented. This will go on record. Cooperating will help later. I let out a slow breath. Funny thing about records, I said. Some of us know how to keep the legal kind. Clipboard guy leaned closer, his vest brushing my door. Don't play games. We're authorized to use force if necessary. That's when I smiled. Calm, cold, sharp. Because while they thought I was just another homeowner, they had no clue who they picked a fight with. I slid my hand down and tapped the discreet button on my duty radio. A silent signal went out, the kind only real deputies carry. Help was on the way, but I wasn't waiting. I shoved my door open, forcing clipboard guy to stumble back. I stepped out slow, boots crunching gravel, arms folded. You sure you want this fight? I asked evenly. The tall one squared up, fumbling for cheap handcuffs dangling from his belt. Turn around, hands behind you now. Before I could answer, sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. The fake cops froze, bravado cracking. Linda's smug grin faltered. Two real sheriff cruisers screamed up, lights blazing, dust swirling as they stopped hard. My deputies stepped out, hands easy on their belts. Boss, Deputy Morales said, eyes flicking from me to them. Want to explain? Why these clowns pulled you over? I jerked my chin at them. They call themselves HOA Cops, claimed they were arresting me for a mailbox violation. Said my truck embarrassed the neighborhood. Morales raised a brow, half smiling. On a state highway? Clipboard guy stammered. We were enforcing standards. The tall one jabbed at me. He refused a lawful order. That's obstruction. Morales barked a laugh. Lawful order? Buddy, that vest came off the internet. That's impersonating law enforcement. Linda tried to intervene, clutching her clipboard. This is a misunderstanding. They're authorized by the board. Ma'am, Morales cut in, voice sharp. HOA rules stop at your property line, and they sure as hell don't cover traffic stops. If you're enjoying this HOA story, like and subscribe. It's only getting better. The fake cops looked at each other, confidence draining fast. The knockoff cuffs dangling at their side now looked like dollar store toys. I stepped closer, eyes locked on them. You tried to strong-arm me, but you picked the wrong man. You pretended to be the law while the real sheriff was rolling in. Cruiser lights washed them in red and blue, a preview of their next ride. And for once, Linda's smug grin vanished. The lights still strobed when Morales ripped the fake badge off the tall one's vest, holding it up to the sun. This, he said, wouldn't pass for a Halloween prop. The imposter stammered. We were authorized by the HOA. Save it, Morales snapped. You're under arrest for impersonating an officer, unlawful detention, and attempted coercion. He locked real cuffs on him while clipboard guy paled, shrinking back. Linda shrieked. You can't do this. The HOA backs them. I turned calmly. Linda, the HOA doesn't outrank state law, and since your name's on those clipboards and complaints, you'll be facing charges too: harassment, fraud, conspiracy. Her mouth opened and shut like a fish on a dock. For once, she had no comeback. Minutes later, both fakes were stuffed into real cruisers, vests crumpled in evidence bags. Linda got cited, her clipboard confiscated. But it didn't stop there. The prosecutor moved quick once Morales and I turned in the evidence. Dozens of neighbors came forward with stories, phony fines, threats, intimidation. What began as my traffic stop became a county-wide case. 2 weeks later, I sat front row in court, arms crossed, as charges were read. Impersonating an officer, fraud, unlawful restraint, conspiracy. The tall man's face turned scarlet. Clipboard guy hung his head, sweat dripping. Linda sat stiff, clutching her purse like armor. The judge didn't blink. Bailiffs, take them into custody. Gasps rippled through the gallery. A few neighbors clapped softly. For months, they'd been bullied with fake tickets and threats. Today, justice flipped the script. By week's end, both fake cops were sentenced to county time and ordered to pay restitution. Linda was stripped of her title, fined heavily, and slapped with no-contact orders against multiple homeowners, me included. The board dissolved her enforcement program, leaving her reputation in ruins. As I left the courthouse, neighbors who once whispered now smiled openly. One shook my hand, another clapped my shoulder. "Sheriff," one old man said, voice thick with relief. "Feels like we finally got our neighborhood back." I gave a nod. No one is above the law, not fake cops, not power-hungry presidents. Justice isn't pretend. The HOA's fraud was exposed, the fakes jailed, and the neighborhood finally free.